What is going on, Florida State family? Seminole Nation in the 863 tribe. This is your boy POLK, a.k.a. A-Lo, a.k.a. the goddamn truth. It is the first. First of all, excuse me, my voice still sounds shot. My voice is still messed up. But this is the first stream of 2023. So shout out to everybody who's made it to 2023. New year, new opportunity. Whatever you haven't accomplished or didn't accomplish, or whatever you want to accomplish, 2023 is the time to do it, right? 2022 is in the books. It don't even matter no more. New year, new beginnings, as they say. Whatever goals you may or may not have. Again, excuse my voice. go out there and try to achieve those, man. Go out there and try to achieve those. But man, it's been a long time since we've talked. And so much has happened from the transfer portal. Oh, yeah, we got two big additions to talk about in that transfer portal. Two huge additions in that transfer portal. We're talking two of the top players in the portal. Yeah, we got to talk about those and what do they mean for this team next year. Huge additions. We just had, in my opinion, the best, maybe not the highest upside, but the best pure running back hit the portal. We'll talk about that and why that happened. And, you know, we wish Trey Sean Ward all the best. I don't think anybody has anything negative to say about Trey Sean Ward. I know I don't wish him the best. I wish he would stay, but I understand the move. I understand the move. We got a DB coach job that needs to be filled. And so we're definitely going to talk about that and who are some of the candidates and what do we want? What do we want in that DB coaching position? What should happen? There's rumors that a certain someone should be announcing their future here tonight, sometime tonight. Don't know exactly what time. Could be while we're doing this, could be later on, but a certain defensive end might be announcing what he intends to do in the future shortly within the hours. All of that, man, and so much more on The Hangover, episode 72, the first of the new year. We even got the Oklahoma game to talk about, which I went back and watched a little bit. I need to go back and watch the entire game from on the TV perspective, but I'll go off the top of the dome and we'll talk a little bit about that Oklahoma game. We'll talk a little bit about the defensive coordinator, which, man, I can't even believe this, but I've had to be in Adam Fuller's corner. But we're going to go over all of that, man, and so much more. But before we do, y'all know we got to pay them bills. Hit my like button. Subscribe if you're new around here. Share the video. Let everybody know we are live. Oh, and let's get this roll call going. In 5. Oh, and by the way, we are sponsored by Truly Hard Seltzer. 3, 2, 1. Priscilla Chestnut in the building. Kusami Hayes, James Timmon, Jay Adams, Mama, Gaming Wizard, Hannes, Vontae B. Corey, did you change your name to Arab? This is the Corey Hall. Now he's Arab 2020. At least the pictures are the same. Shout out to Arab 2020. Island Boy. Tara, Tyler Head, Hypnotic. There's Corey. Corey, you got your burner. Corey got his burner up here. And there's his burner. And there go Corey right there. Okay. Loaded. Randy Yates. VJ remembered 863 Tribe. My bad. Tyler remembered 863 Tribe. Tyler remembered 863 Tribe. Let's get it right. Damian Adams, Jamal M. Randy Yates. Will. EMG Irv. Got it. Remembered 863 Tribe. Kenny Hayden. Todd Pope. Terrence. Davius. Rock Frazier. Let's get it. Certified Shooters. T. Murray. B Games. My bad. No Power. Zozuki. And that is all we got here so far. So by all means, continue to hit that comment section and let us know you are in the building. Let's get this news out the way, man. Zach's in the building. Let's get this news out the way. Trey Sean Ward has decided to hit the transfer portal. As you guys know, second leading rusher on the team. Jalen in the building. No, I ain't gonna take a shot. But yeah, man, Trey Sean Ward decided to hit the transfer portal. And from everything that's kind of being like reported or discussed, essentially it just boiled down to Trey Sean. Trey Sean wants to be a featured back. Okay. He wants to go to a system where, he's gonna get bulk of the carries. Whatever that means, 20 plus, I'm assuming. I know that was something that was like rumored for a few weeks now. So it makes sense. It sucks. I think everybody, again, I don't think anybody has anything negative. I know I don't have anything negative to say about Trey Sean. I understand. I understand maybe wanting to be the future back. I think personally, I think it'd be smart to stay in a system like this if I was Trey Sean. But if he wants to go up there and try to, be the future back, I ain't mad at you. Go do your thing. But he was never going to get that here. I mean, even before Benson kind of took over, basically really due to injury, but they were still splitting carries. They were going to continue to split carries. The more Trey Benson, um, the better he gets. I think the writing was kind of on the wall that he probably would get more opportunities. But I thought Trey Benson and Trey Sean Ward really complemented each other personally. So it'd be interesting to see who fills that role. Does Toafili fill that role, or do they continue to use Toafili as sort of your third down back, which is kind of what I feel like Toafili is. He's more your guy that you can do multiple things with on a third down. You don't necessarily have to hand him off because he can do so much other things. Does Keziah Holmes get in there? Very interesting to see is could Benson and Keziah Holmes be a 1-2 punch? They're very similar in terms of stature, right? Keziah Holmes is not a small back. He's a 220-pound, like 6'1" running back. Again, similar stature to Trey Benson, maybe even a little bigger than Trey Benson. It'd be interesting to see. I don't know if they complement each other. But does Rodney Hill? What does Sam Singleton have to say about any of this? Does he have anything to say about this? And that walk on CJ Campbell doesn't look half bad. He might have some stuff to say about this as well. So the FSU backfield is in good hands. So this isn't really about Florida State. I think we all feel fairly confident that our backfield is in good hands, regardless of who fills that role. We have a bunch of talent there. And I think, they'll try a bunch of different guys, and eventually somebody will fill that slot. I believe. The question becomes, or the question is more so for Trey Sean Ward. Where does he go? What kind of system does he fit? As much as I love Ward, I've been telling people Ward was the best running back on the roster all year. So he does have some deficiencies. He's not the biggest back. He's not the fastest back. Frankly, I think Trey Sean Ward, no matter where he goes, might have to end up being a complimentary back, and that doesn't mean that that's a bad thing. But I'm curious to see where he goes and where he ends up, and who's gonna use his skill set. It's just me though. I think we all wish Trey Sean Ward the best. I think most of us wish we could have kept him just because they complement each other so well. But FSU has no lack for talent in that backfield and has no lack for options. I just am very curious of who will be looking to acquire Trey Sean Ward. I'm sure he will have his fair share of suitors. So it's going to be definitely interesting to see where he goes and who's interested in picking him up. So before we move on, we'll get to some of the comments on Trey Sean Ward. Then we'll move on to the next topic. Jadon at Member 863 Tribe, what's up, bro? Happy New Year to you. Panama says we still got too many running backs. Too many? I don't know if we could. You can never have too many. Ward is a player we do all we can to keep. While Benson had his moments, Trey Sean Ward's a pure no from day one. Well, you say you do all we can to keep him, but from a talent perspective, again, I think he can be replaced. If the man wants to go be a feature back, then I mean, I don't know. You weren't gonna promise him 20 plus carries with a guy like Trey Benson, Keziah Holmes, Rodney Hill. Like, you're not gonna promise him 20 plus carries when you got a stable of backs. It's just Toafili, who like, for all we know, Toafili can pick up Trey Benson slack. I don't know if they really use Toafili like that, but it's possible. Kind of expected, but it hurts. Rock Frazier says Holmes going to surprise a lot of people with the speed and power. Ward wanted 15 carries. Want to see I'm assuming that's hype. Terrence says, I think he can handle a 20 plus load, and I hope he gets what he's looking for. Hope he goes to Arizona State with Kenny. What's going on, Champ 99? Tyler says Hill or Holmes got to step up. Maybe Ward ends up at ASU with Dilly in a similar system with the best for him. Wish the best for him. Just too much talent. In all honesty, it's preferable to have Ward move on as opposed to a younger guy doing so. I agree with that. I agree with that last part. I do agree with that last part. Much as you want to keep Trey Sean Ward, he was only going to be here for another year anyway. Preferably, he's the one that goes instead of, Rodney Hill or something like that. So, working on wish he have stayed in Mike Norvell's offense is built for playmakers. He's not going to get many holes to run through like he did here. What's going on, Peter? What's up, Marcus? People say Colorado would be a good fit. I think maybe Boston College or Georgia Tech. He was the better of the backs last season. And I think CJ needs at the portal. We have enough scholarship running backs. I don't think he will ever earn a scholarship here with the running backs we got coming in. The real issue of the day is you're jumping the gun there, but we'll talk about that. We'll talk about all of that stuff. So let's move on, man. Let's move on. Trey Sean Ward hit the portal, so I wish him the best, but I'm not too worried about the talent in the room. Not too worried about the talent. He could go back to USF. He could go back to USF. Let's move on. Let's move on from Trey Sean. Want to get that out the way. If you haven't checked it out, man, go check it out. It's on the channel. My experience of the Cheeze It Bowl. Go check that one out, man. Had a fun time. Again, I don't know if you can tell, my voice still is strained from that day, but we had a great time. Go check that video out, man. It's on the channel right now. Next time, I'll do a little bit better with the video in terms of getting more like in-game stuff. I'd be too into the game to like bring out my phone every time something happens, or just to be having it out the whole time. I ain't got time for that. But next time, maybe I get a GoPro or something, and so you guys can get more of the actual game footage. But no, I did a good job. We had a good time out there at the tailgate. Got to meet a few of y'all. Y'all came up to me, hey, introduced yourself, and that was dope. And we had fun. But speaking of that game, man, what is there to take from that Oklahoma? And I don't want to spend too much time on this Oklahoma game because we're well past it at this point. This is my first time talking to y'all post Oklahoma. I mean, other than that video where I could barely talk that night. What I took from that game, watching it live, and I still haven't really watched it. I've watched clips of it, but I haven't really watched that game in its entirety on the TV. And what I can take from going live is a couple things. I don't know what happened to 13. I don't know. I think it's a confidence thing. I think, they say he had an injury, and I don't know if he ever regained that confidence, man. But he don't play like it, just from watching it live. 13, I hope he has a bounce back junior year. 13, yeah, 13's got to be better. 13's got to be better. Lost my train of thought. But yeah, 13's got to be better. I'll just stick on the defensive side here for a second. I got to clarify on 13. Terrence, did you watch the game? Did you not see 13 get burnt like multiple times? I'm not too sure what I need to clarify. Unless you don't know who 13 is, then I will tell you that's Omarion Cooper. Maybe we watched a different thing. Maybe we watched a different game. But 13's got to be better. Omarion Cooper. In case you don't know who 13 is, that's Omarion Cooper, Duke Cooper, cornerback. He's got to be better. Staying on the defensive side of the ball, man. We need those guys in the trenches to be a little better too. Oklahoma's offensive line. See, the funny thing about this is, the funny thing about FSU is whenever FSU has played defensive, offensive line, decent offensive lines, they've kind of struggled. And Oklahoma was running the ball. Again, and this is everything just from me watching live off the top of the head that I'm remembering. Oklahoma did not have a problem running. Oklahoma did not have a problem running the ball. They did not have a problem running the ball. But that's been a theme of Florida State whenever they play a decent offensive line. I mean, so we'll see what happens with Verse. He did have a sack and a half, but that last sack, I mean, if you negate the last sack, somebody tell me what Verse did in that game. I mean, 60 was doing his thing. If you take away the last sack was huge because it essentially sealed the game, right? But just take that one play. That's one play out of 100 snaps. And you take that away. You show me what Jarrett Verse did. I didn't feel like Jarrett Verse, for potentially his last game of the season and the last game in an FSU uniform potentially, I don't know if he had put on the performance that some expected or would have expected. He broke contain a bunch of times. When we talk about those running plays that broke and how Oklahoma could run the ball, well, Verse still has that same tendency to break. He breaks contain on the edge because he's trying to rush the passer, right? He doesn't contain the edge, then doesn't seal it. And that Verse has had that problem all year. So, and I'm not coming down on Verse. I'm just telling you what I saw. Those are things that I've been saying he has to clean up. Those are things that'll be exploited at the next level. And I think it would do him justice to come back another year. Patrick Payton was another guy. I think Patrick Payton had a sack. I have to go back and check the stats. But Pat, there were some plays where I watched Pat just get flat out manhandled. He's got to get stronger, but that's okay. See, the difference is Pat's a freshman. He's going to continue to get better, I believe. Jamie was the best player on defense, bar none. I don't know how it looked on the TV, but even watching it live, Jamie was everywhere, doing everything. Yeah, Jamie was that guy, and it's no coincidence that Jamie decided to declare for the draft. Jamie was definitely that guy. Every time we don't have Fabian Lovett in the rotation, it's a glaring weakness. We're going to talk about Fabian Lovett here a little later. No, Versus not going to end up in the XFL. I guarantee you that. Whether or not he goes first round is one thing. He's not going to fall that far at all. Linebackers is something I would actually have to go back and watch. From watching it live, I can't remember so much of the linebacker play, especially me watching from that end zone angle. Wasn't able to watch the linebackers. I thought Shaheem played well again. Just from remembering off the top of my head, Akeem Dent went down early in that game, so I thought Shaheem filled in fairly well again. To the offensive side of the ball, I mean, obviously JT, 400 plus yards. I mean, like no, don't need to really go too far in that. I will say that you make a good point here. Number 9 on Oklahoma with their tight end. Oh yeah, he was killing us. Number 9 was killing us. And again, from my angle that I was watching, I couldn't tell who was necessarily covering him. Being at the tight end, assume it was a backer. So I don't know which backer. I see a lot of people saying it was Bethune. So I guess it was Tatum getting cooked on or picked on. But yeah, number 9 was killing us in that game. But if let's go to the offense. Johnny Wilson is so much like Kelvin Benjamin to me. It's actually scary. It's actually scary. And I think a lot of people made those comparisons with Benjamin just because of the size. But they have the same exact problems. One guy just played in an all-time great offense. But they make tough catches look easy, and easy catches they consistently drop. KB's probably a little faster than Johnny. That's the only difference. I would argue Johnny gets better separation. Than Benjamin. Benjamin probably has more top end speed. They're damn near the same identical player. They drop easy balls. They lose concentration on the easy ones. But when it comes to the big catches, man, they seem to make them. KB had those same issues. I just want to point that out. Johnny had a huge game. But I remember sitting here and I was sitting next to a guy and we were both like, man, he makes the easy catches look hard and the hard catches look easy. Trey Sean, they bottled up Trey Benson all night. The offensive line, I would say, played below average that game. Hold on, guys. Yeah, I hear that in the background. Yeah. There you go. Now where was I at? Yeah, the O line I would say played like below average. They bottled up Trey Benson. Ward was able to find creases because that's what he does. Um, Somebody said Benson was so impatient. Well, that's been the knock on Benson from the jump, right? So, it is what it is there. Um, Hold on, guys. Um, I thought Marcus and Douglas obviously played his best game, in my opinion. Well, played one of his better games. Played one of his better games. Again, we're just quickly going over the Oklahoma game. Maybe we're spending maybe too much time on Oklahoma game. Um, but I wanted to get some thoughts out that I didn't get out before. Ultimately, man, we still were able to score 30 plus points, win the game. Fitz with the game-winning field goal at the end. Um, but we didn't play our best game, I think, on either side of the ball. I mean, JT played one of his best games, but we knew going into the game that Oklahoma had a terrible defense. So, in a lot of ways, we probably left some points on the board. In a lot of ways. But we knew Oklahoma did not have a good defense, but we knew Oklahoma could score the ball. And it turned into somewhat of a offensive game. But I do want to address, and this is the last thing I'll talk about this game. First, before we start with this, Jeff, my man Jeff with the $5 says, just got home. How much? The only thing you miss is Trey Sean Ward has hit the transfer portal. And right now we're talking about Oklahoma. That's it, man. You haven't missed much. Shout out to you, Jeff, for coming in here.
My name is Jeff.
This is what I want to talk about. This is me defending Adam Fuller. Yep, I know. What? You're going to defend Adam Fuller? I'm going to defend Fuller because I watched Florida State give up 31 points to Oklahoma, a team that averaged about the same thing we average in our offense. And I think Florida State averages 34 points a game or something like that. I don't know off the top of my head. It's somewhere around that. Florida State, Oklahoma averaged damn near around the same offensively. FSU held them to under their average or right at it. Only gave up 31 points a game, right? It wasn't the final score 34-31 or something like that. Everybody wants to kill Adam Fuller as if, okay, so we held them right to their average. Everybody wants to kill Adam Fuller. I just want the top 4 teams in the country put up 50 and 40 in their games. But somehow we are sitting here talking about Adam Fuller giving up 32 or whatever the hell, or 31. Seriously? Yeah, and Oklahoma's got a top 20 offense. I just watched TCU. What? Now I know a couple of those were pick sixes from TCU. I still watched them put up 50 on Michigan. Kind of wild. Take away a couple pick sixes. That's still 40 plus points or whatever the case. I'm just gonna look. I'm all about criticizing when it's warranted. The man has improved the defense drastically since day one. He literally, from all the numbers, statistic wise, the man literally fielded a top 10 defense this year. And we are sitting here asking for this man's head. He say, I hear you, but no. I mean, I get it. You hear me, but no. Yeah, in today's age of college football, show me Ohio State. Georgia's supposed to have the greatest defense in the nation. What did Ohio State do? And if Marvin Harrison stays in that game, they probably win it. Oklahoma's offense is no slouch. It wasn't like, come on. Oklahoma could score the ball. The problem we knew with Oklahoma was that they could also give up 50. You could make a case our offense should have scored more. It shouldn't have been as close, is what you can argue. And not from a defensive perspective. So I'm just making the case. I get it. Like, it's fun to knock or rag on Adam Fuller. Show me another coach. Show me another defensive coordinator that has gone from a year one COVID year, 100 and something ranked. Year two, last year, top 60. Year three, show me that progression from a defensive show me one other defensive coordinator in the nation that has that type of progression through 3 years. If you can, I'll shut up. 100, 50s, 10, like, wow. I'm not making any of this up. This is all factual. And somehow we just want to say Adam Fuller sucks. He's not good. He doesn't make adjustments. Wake Forest scored 31 on Florida State in their win. 31-21, I believe, was the final score of Wake Forest. They scored 10 in the second half. There wasn't adjustments made. Did the offense not fail the defense in the Wake Forest game? What about the NC State game? What did NC State score? 19? What was the final score? Like 19-17 or whatever it was in that game? Is it the defense's fault we couldn't put at least 20 points on the board against NC State? I'm just asking questions. And then on top of all that, we can make another case. Where's the elite talent on the defense? Especially on the back end of it. I think we got talent. Some of it's young. So at the end of the day, man, I'm not going to sit here and tell you that this is the Adam Fuller fan club. But show me another D coordinator that's doing what he's doing. That's all I can say. Show me another D coordinator that's doing what he's doing. That's going to segue basically into these big additions that we got on this defensive side of the ball. So next year, it's really going to come in full circle here. And before I hit this next point, I'm going to say this. The upgrade in talent is going to be, I think, apparent next year. And then we're about to get into that. And before I get into that, I'm going to get on some of these comments. But you know, we criticize him Fuller. Let's see what this new DB coach, who we got to talk about, what he brings to the table with the lack, with maybe our defensive backs playing with some better technique. And let's see if Verse does indeed come back, if he announces he's coming back in another year where we expect Patrick Payton to be a lot better How those two coming off the edge with Fiske in the middle. Lovett has announced he's coming back. Jackson we got from Miami. So now we got a real solid, just 3-man rotation right there at defensive tackle. That's not counting for Farmer being a year better. Tafasi looks like a beast. Let's see if he can sneak his way into a rotation in year one. A lot of things next year. A lot more depth. Guys getting a year better. Bringing in instant starters. I understand wanting to criticize guys, but I don't know how you criticize results. Fuller's giving you results. We want to criticize Fuller. I'm watching top defensive coordinators in the playoff game give up 40 points a game. But when it's those teams, it's the offenses are just good. We, for whatever reason, we gave Oklahoma's offense no credit. I think because they were a 6-16. Again, though their offense still put up good numbers this year. I guess because it was 6-16 that we give Oklahoma's offense no credit. But that's just me. That's just me. Let me get to the comments and then we'll get to this portal stuff. Any coach that can put 35 at DN and still win. And that's another thing. So that's another thing that was funny to me. Y'all know I cover this team week in and week out during the season, even in the off season. And it was I don't know if people were just bitching just to complain, or they just legitimately don't watch Florida State every week. 35 has played 800 snaps this year. Why were people acting like, again, trying to blame Adam Fuller, why were people acting like Leonard Warner hasn't played any football this year? Now, we can debate whether Leonard Warner is a good player or not. I'm not going to sit here and tell you that he is. The point is he's played a lot of snaps this year. Why we act surprised that he was playing against Oklahoma is beyond me. I don't know what people expect in today's offenses. I agree with you there. Today's offenses are ridiculous, bro. The days of 21 to 24 scores is like the NC State game. That's an anomaly. You don't get those type of low scoring games are a thing of the past. FSU did not play their best game and still had a team to their average. Fuller's doing his thing overall with less than elite talent. We're going to get to Cypress here in a minute. Timmy says, exactly, tell it. Yes, Oklahoma has awful defense. I knew they was going to score on us. Defenses get exotic when they have the talent to do so. Fuller has been steady raising the floor with upgrading talent. Now, if we don't get more consistent and assertive with this talent, let the judgment flow. But you can't be realistic and pissed at what Fuller has accomplished thus far. Georgia's defense looked ass the other night. Mark Stoops, when he was at FSU, took us from defense in the 120s in 2009 to top 10 in 2012. Interesting you say that. Go check the names on the 2012 defense, no squad. And I'm not saying you're wrong. That was awesome. I think Mark Stoops is the second best defensive coordinator Florida State's had. It's Mickey Andrews, and I think it's Mark Stoops, personally. Pruitt was good for a year. I believe he's very overrated, in my opinion. That's a whole conversation for another day. But the point is, you check 2012's defense that you just said was top 10. Bjorn Warner, NFL first rounder. Tank Carradine had a long NFL career. Xavier Rhodes, NFL first rounder. Those are just three guys off the top of my head. I believe Telvin Smith, who obviously stayed another year, he's a starter on that defense. Vince Williams is another linebacker. NFL, had a good NFL career with the Steelers. Now, go to our top 10 defense this year. Name me the NFL player. Jamie gets drafted probably in the third, fourth round. Third or later. That's where Jamie goes. Burst, whenever he goes, whether it's this year or next year, he'll be a first rounder, I think, next year, this year. late first rounder at best. So 2 NFL players on the entire defense this year compared to what it was in 2012. Come on, man. Come on, man. And again, that's not knocking Mark Stoops at all, but I'm just saying, give Adam Fuller his roses. Fuller still has to prove me wrong. He don't need to go anywhere, though. We can't afford to switch a DC. We got an ACC championship game to win. And let's not act like our boy Course Novels loves going for the boy. That's like, it's not even Mike. That's just college football today. Everybody goes for it on 4th and short. Honestly, in the games we lost the offense and special teams put the defenses in awful situations. He's good. I just want to see more creative. Here's the thing, though, Damian. I would say that I don't necessarily disagree, but when he starts trying to run some exotic blitz or whatever it is y'all want to see, and if he doesn't have the personnel to do it, I am going to be the one that gets on here and says, why are we trying to do that with these players? That's where I would be criticizing Adam Fuller. All this creative talk everybody's talking about, if we don't have the players to do it, don't do it. Do what they can do. And it's funny, he's done what they can do, and he's wielded the top 10 defense. Hit him with the facts. I wish Fuller could add more scheme, get these boys to play cover 3 and quarters, not just man. Our offense will, well, we'll see. We'll see when he gets better DBs. We'll see. Is it the players? Maybe he just needs a certain type of player, Let's go after Jeremy Pruitt for DB coach. Pruitt is not at Colorado. Pruitt's in the NFL, man. Georgia only let opponents score 15 points per game during the regular season. I think Florida State only gave up 19 points per game during the regular season. Kind of crazy, right? He was overrated as a defensive coordinator. I stand on that. Pruitt took over a team. Pruitt took over a defense built by Mark Stoops, number one. Pruitt took over a defense built by another defensive coordinator with a draft pick everywhere. Cool. He was able to get it to a national championship. Awesome. I mean, show me the defense. Then he takes over a Georgia defense already built up, takes over a Bama defense already built up. Show me the defense Jeremy Pruitt ever built. Show me the program Jeremy Pruitt went to. He never built anything. He goes to Tennessee, and that thing was terrible. So, yeah, he's definitely overrated as a D coordinator to me. Doesn't mean he can't coach good talent. But he's overrated. Jamie late second. I don't know. Did I see Jim? No. Yeah, they don't. I think Corey was already talking about that. They don't play zone a lot. If they start playing zone, go back to last year and the year before when they tried implementing zone and how many busted coverages we had. Again, learning from your past mistakes and realizing, well, maybe we just got guys that don't really relish in zone coverage. And then sticking to a man, maybe that's coaching. Maybe that's a good decision. I don't know. That's just how I view it personally. They don't play zone. They've even said themselves they don't play a lot of zone. But I think that has to do with this. They don't. Now, that doesn't mean they don't play zone at all, though. Let me be clear. You go watch some of those Greedy Vance interceptions. They were in zone on some majority of Greedy Vance's interceptions. So they play zone. Maybe they don't play it as much as some people want, But see, this is just one of those things because if they played a bunch of zone, everybody would say, well, we're Florida State. We should be playing man up. You go talk to any DB, they like playing man. At Florida State, we should be able to play man on man. They play a lot of man on man. Man, we should be playing more zone in today's game. Which one do we want? Wish we could get T-Buck. That's not going to happen. And then even if T-Buck wasn't, T-Buck's done his time as a DB coach. I would have to think T-Buck wants to be a D coordinator at some point. That's true too, Briley. That's a good point. But that's just my point, man. Again, I'll sit here and defend. I'll sit here and defend Fuller this time if I have to. So that's just me, you know. I just felt like the criticism that Fuller's getting is kind of ridiculous. And with that said, we talk about talent on the defense. FSU just got a couple big upgrades in talent, man. You got the number one DB in the portal. Yeah, I'm gonna call him the number one DB because I know Travis Hunter is in the portal, and of course he went to Colorado. Big shocker there. Cypress is the number one guy. Travis Hunter is still a project, good talent. We'll see what he does. Cypress still the number one guy to me. And now it gets pretty interesting to see exactly what you do in that defensive backfield. You got to think Cypress gets one of those corner spots. Does Ronaldo Green stick at a corner spot? Do they give it to AZ? You need more safety depth. Who's moving where? Travis J. Matter of fact, speaking of Travis J., he dressed out in the bowl game. I don't know if anybody peeped that. 18 was dressed out after being really in a black shirt on the scout team for majority of the year, if not all the year. 18 dressed out against Oklahoma. Where does he fit in? We know about Shaheem. Jarian was hurt in the bowl game, so he didn't play. He had his arm in a sling, as a matter of fact. What do you do with that? Greedy Vance also did not play. He was in street clothes. And then you bring in, what'd you sign? 4 DBs, Hussey, Edwin, 5 DBs. You sign Kirkland, Quintarius Jones, Rawls, Hussey, and Edwin Jones. And then you sign 5 DBs, where you'll see where those guys fit in terms of corner and safety. Cypress is huge because, in my opinion, that's a lock on one side of the field. I'm not saying he's going to be a lockdown corner per se, even though he played on a bad Virginia team. So you could argue, that he is going to be locked down. I'm just saying, you put him on one side of the field and you don't really have to worry. You don't have to worry about that side of the field. Ronaldo Green, in my opinion, was your most consistent corner. One would assume he's done nothing to lose that job. But that doesn't mean AZ can't go take that job or something like that. Does Amarion Cooper bounce back in his junior year? Jarian Jones, he played well at the end of the year. Does he continue that into next year? That slot with Knowles and Vance. You got to think maybe Edwin Joseph is in the mix there too. A lot of talent, and Cypress, I think, is going to be spearheading that talent. That is huge. Cypress is Fentrell Cypress is a huge get, a much needed get. I personally think they need to get another, go in the portal, get me one more DB true safety type. Akeem Dent's coming back most likely, right? Or at least that's the early thought process. right? Shaheem Brown. I think you need one or two more guys back there because, I mean, you got, again, how much faith do we have in Travis J at the safety? We'll find out. I actually think he plays better safety than he plays corner, mainly as long as he's playing that free safety type because I think that's where he can make plays. You probably need another guy or two at the safeties position. I don't know if there's a DB you really gonna move this. If there's a corner you want to move to safety, I don't see it. Can a true freshman get in the mix there? Sure, he can. Conrad Haskell could get in the mix. I think they like Kirk. Well, no, I think they like Kirkland as a corner. I think they like Quintarius Jones as a safety. Maybe he can get in the mix. Okay, we'll see. Yeah, he did. I actually he walked right past me with his shoe off, limping. He was limping. So yeah, I actually saw when Dent left the game. But yeah, man, Cypress is huge, and he really gives you some relief in that backfield, you know, in that defensive backfield. I think Jeff with another $5, bro. Appreciate you. He says I think you need a safety through the portal. If for anything else, if not for a starter position, forget. No, I agree. You need to add at least one more guy in that defensive backfield, more of a true safety type, whether that's free or strong in the box, or out at the free safety spot, whatever. I think you just need a guy for a rotation. Injuries happen. Don't think you want to rush a freshman out there if you don't have to. And you're losing. Hell, you're losing damn near all your safeties. Jamie Pro, Jaquez McClellan, he's going to I don't know if he's going pro or not, but he's run out of eligibility. Of course, Sam McCall's going to Texas A&M. Who am I missing? Sidney Williams in the transfer portal as well. I mean, that's four players out of that safety room you've just lost. But shout out to Jeff again, man. You get the two videos. You get your.
My name is Jeff.
Now let's run this money up.
I'm in Tallahassee. I'm with the Seminoles. I've been getting to this paper, focus on my goals. Trying to run this money up and pull up in a row. All this talking gangster, that shit getting old.
With Shaheem, Dent, Cypress, and Green as fixtures, if Jones continues the upward development, Cooper bounces back, Jay gets himself on the field, and AZ takes that next step, the DB room is completely animal. Kamani McLean was toasted all week. Was he? I didn't watch it. All talent with no skill. Ew. Damning words from Marco, who's not a Florida State fan, by the way. He's a Louisville fan. Just thought I'd make sure that y'all understand Florida State fans are not coming from Cormani McLean. That's a Louisville fan. What's up, Marco? Yeah, no, his PFF score is ridiculous this year. Absolutely. Michael, I bring up that he played on the bad Virginia team because this is why I bring that up. If you play on a bad team and the opposing offense knows, well, that one good player's there, why even test them? I'm not even going to test them. Let's just go test the rest of this bad defense, is my point. Now, he's going to be at Florida State, where he might get picked on a little more because Ronaldo Green's no slouch on the other side either. I do not. But anything can happen. He was a safety before they moved him from the corner. Do they move him back? I don't know if you make the move back, though, stroking the flame, because he played so well. The only way that move happens, in my opinion, with Green is if AZ during the spring and summer and fall, if AZ just morphs into a new animal. In his sophomore year, if he just morphs into that animal we all think he can become, then I think you can move Green to safety. But that's all dependent on that. the South Carolina DM. Is he visiting tomorrow? I didn't know that, but that's cool. That's cool. I think they want another DN. I think they need another DN whether Verse comes back or not. I would argue that if Verse does go pro, you take two DNs. Verse comes back, you still take a DN. My opinion, though. Green wasn't as good at safety. That's why he moved the corner, and that was his best year as a Knoll. Well, Green also had a lot of injuries the previous years, too. But we need DNs bad. If that D-line is dominant, the cornerbacks usually look better than they actually are. Well, speaking of defensive line, I mean, I know we didn't get up a DN yet, but Fabian Lovett announces he's coming back. Holy cow, that's huge. Not completely surprising with the fact that the man spent majority of this year injured, didn't play in the bowl game either. Spent majority of this year injured. Again, I don't know how much better Fabian Lovett gets, but at least he's going to have an opportunity to put himself in a better position next year if he can stay healthy. But now some of that load is off of his back because you bring in the number one defensive tackle in the portal and a 6'5", 300-pounder out of Western Michigan who had 6 sacks in Fiske. Now, my question on Fiske is, did he dominate a lower league and what's that, the MAC? And can he bring that? Excuse me. Can he bring that to the ACC? That's my question. But that rotation looks legit. Man, I need some water. Hold on. I'm back. I'm over here dying. Love it. Fiske, Jackson, and Briggs. I saw it right here. Not including Peyton because he's a DN. That's your 4-man rotation off bat. Now Malcolm Ray's still in the mix there. Farmer. That makes you 6 deep. That's 6 deep of players that we know have track records of actually producing at the college level. That's not counting Daniel Lyons, who played good in spots. We're going to need him to take that next step as a sophomore or redshirt freshman, maybe a redshirt freshman. Not counting Bishop Thomas, Tafasi.
You're welcome.
Thank you.
You are
welcome. Not counting all of those guys. Your defensive tackle room is pretty deep. And it all starts with those top 4 guys. I don't know how good Fiske is. But what I do know, you pair him up with Fabo. You pair him next to Jackson, who's another 6'5", 300-pounder. Fiske is gonna have every opportunity to prove that he wasn't just some product of playing in a weak conference. Because he's not coming in. Fiske isn't coming in here and asked to be a one-man working crew. He's playing alongside some other guys who might need to eat up some double teams, who's going to get a lot of attention. Hell, if Verse comes back, those D tackles are going to get plenty of one-on-one attention. That's another huge get for Florida State. The top-end talent you're bringing in, you are gearing up next year to be, if this is a game of any, I don't care what game, if this is poker, blackjack, you name it, they just went all in with the chips. Florida State is all in with the chips for next year. No doubt about it. You bringing Travis back, Benson back. Now, I don't think Johnny's decided whether he's coming back. I would have to believe Johnny comes back. The tight end room just got major overhaul of talent. The offensive line You added 3 guys. Now, one of the things that has surfaced here over the last week or so is the Roddick situation. I don't know if people are aware of the Roddick situation, that he might be staying in Colorado now. But I don't think anything has been officially announced on that. But they were, I think Warren Chan and 247 were reporting that Roddick might be having Casey Roddick, offensive lineman out of Colorado, who FSU was going to put at center. I don't know if he still ends up. Y'all might know more than me on that one. So either way, though, you still added. Byers was one of the top offensive linemen in the portal. Was Keandre Jones out of Auburn, huge offensive guard. I mean, you're still shoring up your O-line. You added Fiske, you added Cypress. I mean, you're gonna look probably at another defensive end here shortly. Ohio State just had another defensive end hit the portal. I mean, FSU was playing for keeps. They done put all the chips in the center. I don't know what the expectation is. It's only January. But holy cow. If I was a betting man, FSU would have to be odds-on favorite next year in the ACC. Tafasi is an animal. Straight monster in the weight room. He and Lyons raises the floor. Getting Fade back is like getting a 6-star grad transfer. POLK, I heard crazy stat with Fable teams average 3.4. That is a crazy stat, actually. That shows you how important he is. What up? Have you hired a new? I don't hire anything, but we'll see what they do. Wouldn't be surprised if Ray is gone. No, I don't think Ray's going anywhere because he signed with Battles End Collective. So I don't think Malcolm Ray goes anywhere. I mean, I guess he could, but I don't see the point of him signing with Battles End NIL Collective if you were going to transfer. But what about the D-line from Texas A&M? 5-star Lucas. I saw that. They could be interested. I don't know if they have any interest in him. But he's out there. Who would want FSU to hire at corner? We're going to talk about corner here in a second. Why Ward hit the portal? Because Ward wants to be a feature back. Fiske is more of a pass rusher. Well, we'll see what he does. So Roddick is coming. Okay, cool. Nah, man, I just got my throat, bro. We ran off Marcus Woodson? Or did Mike not extend Marcus Woodson's contract? Y'all got to stop blaming the fans for this. It ain't the fans' fault. Again, let's talk about but we talked about 2 transfers. We talked about Fabo coming back. Fiske, Cypress, those are huge additions. But everybody's asking about everybody wants to ask about DB. So let's talk about this DB coach. And where do we go from here? Well, I don't see how TJ Rushing would be a legit option, as that's who Mike hired initially, and then he took the job to A&M. So I don't think TJ Rushing is legit or a real option. Who do you think switched sides? I believe Courtney. Well, that's been a rumor. I don't know if that happens. I think Courtney stays at tight end. I'm not so sure anybody switches sides. How many wide receivers at the portal? I hope 0. I think ultimately 1 could. Marcus Woodson comment was a joke. POLK, they said Woodson had 1 year left on his contract. Well, I heard otherwise. I heard Woodson had contract actually expired January 1st or something like that. So he got hired by Arkansas. Let me tell you how you know, or let me tell you why I believe that is legit. Woodson took a job at Arkansas that was a lateral job. He didn't go be a D coordinator somewhere. Or he didn't get a promotion. Whitson took a lateral job, which tells me one of two things. The contract was up and they let him walk, or he hated it here so much, which this could be the case, that he didn't care about getting a promotion. He just wanted to take a lateral. The man took a lateral job. Wow. So, but we're gonna talk about this defensive backfield coach, POLK. I think TJ, because A&M and Jimbo is down bad, he might want to get at it. That's true. He did initially want to work for Mike. Went to A&M. Maybe he sees the writing on the wall there and he leaves. You think they give? I don't think it's out of the question. I think they have a bunch of options. Like I said, we'll talk about it in a second. If he does replace DB coach internally, who would it be? Wide receiver room is deep. I can see Williamson hitting the portal. I think Span hits the portal. Span just hit the portal, so I don't think he would hit the portal again. Doesn't make sense, but we'll see. Let's talk about it. First and foremost, I don't know who the replacement is. I just know they have a bunch of options and a bunch of opportunities. You don't have to reel it into one guy. My bad. Crow's been the one name that's been out there heavy. I see some of you guys putting a lot of different names in there. FSU has two guys on the staff that I think are possibilities. I think there's two ways you can go about this. I don't know if Corey Fuller, that is, or Ratliff are bad options. Let me say that. I don't think either one of them are bad options at all. However, I do think if you're Mike, you have to go big game fishing first. I would fall back on Fuller or Ratliff if my big targets missed, because I think you're in a unique position where you can add. What do we keep criticizing? I won't say we. I'll take the knock here. What do I keep criticizing the staff for? Their lack of real recruiters on this staff, which does show up in the high school recruiting rankings. And when you don't have, if you get a chance, I think you got to get a chance to get you, a major recruiter. If you get the chance to. If you get a chance, you at least got to swing for him. Now, I don't know if Crow's that guy, but I like Crow. And I would not be mad at Crow. And I think Crow can relate to the new player. Everybody's got to get their start somewhere. For a lot of people that saying Crow's not qualified, I mean, hell. When Jeremy Pruitt, since we were talking about Pruitt earlier, Jeremy Pruitt became a defensive coordinator at Florida State. He hadn't had no prior defensive coordinator experience. He had only ever been in high school, and then I think he had 3 or 4 years at Alabama's defensive backs coach. That was it. So everybody got to get their shot somewhere. Wouldn't be against Crow. Crow's an interesting fit. I would like it. You could argue that there's bigger and better names out there than Crow. Maybe better names. I'm not so sure bigger names. Right? Not so sure bigger names. I think first and foremost, you got to take a swing for the fences. Whoever that is. Somebody that you feel like is not that can come in here and maybe get the sour taste out of our mouths in terms of this defensive back recruiting. I mean, when Woodson first got here, he looked like he was going to be a hell of a recruiter. He had a 5-star in Hunter, 5-star in McCall, but it just has gone kind of down south ever since your boy got up out of here. Go after a big name or, somebody who can kill it on the trail, in my opinion. If that fails, then I think one of the more intriguing moves that I think, let's say they can't get the Crow or some of these other names that you guys are throwing out. And some of these names I'm not even all that familiar with. I wonder if some of y'all even watch some of these guys or if y'all just hear people talk about them. Some of these names I'm not even familiar with, which is fine. Go out and get one of these guys if you can't. I don't have a problem with promoting Fuller or Ratliff to the spot. And I would bring in, and I put this on Twitter, the tweet got a little bit of attention. Greg Reed is a name who's been tweeting a lot. And if y'all should know who Greg Reed is, about getting back, maybe getting into coaching. And he's been talking about coming back to Florida State. Now, I would not make Greg Reed my DB coach off rip. But if you told me I was going to promote a Fuller or a Ratliff, and maybe the knock on those guys isn't the X's and O's, maybe the knock is the recruiting aspect. Now, I have no idea how Greg Reed can recruit, but I got to think a guy who smoked as much weed as Greg Reed did, which is one of the reasons why Jimbo kicked him off the team, you got to be able to relate to these kids somehow. I don't know if bringing in Greg Reed as an assistant or, on-field coach or something like that, I don't know if that's a bad move. I don't know. What do you guys think about that? Now, again, I wouldn't bring him in as a bona fide defensive backs coach. But I wouldn't mind seeing him on the staff. I don't think that's a bad move to put him on the staff. What y'all talking about in the comments? Folks that criticize Crow's experience Fuller isn't qualified to be a DC at FSU, but he was given the job. His experience was Assumption and Marshall. True. We can't afford any newbies at the DB coaching position. That's the reason we can't get nobody now. Bro, what are you talking about? We can't afford nobody. Okay. You can put Crow off field, let him recruit, and nurture him into the next. I don't disagree, but that's kind of the role he already has. Always. I don't disagree with that, Tyler. I think what I would say is, why would Crow leave? I mean, unless Crow just wants to leave A&M and come to Florida State, but that'd be a lateral move for Crow. Would he take that, or is he looking for the next step? Paul, what do you think about Marvin Jones Jr. hitting the portal? Do I think that will happen? Obviously I don't know anything. I'm gonna say no. I don't say that. I'm gonna say I don't think that happens. We talked all season about investing in off-field staff. That's where these former players can really shine. Fuller is a defensive genius. Stop with the meaningless talk. I guess y'all probably missed I already did a whole segment on Adam Fuller. So I'm not, and maybe you're confusing me talking about Corey Fuller and Adam Fuller. Maybe we're confused there. I never said anything bad about Adam Fuller. Go rewind the show and you'll see everything I said about Adam Fuller. Fuller won't take the job, has a son in baseball, and the position he's in now benefits that. Fuller concentrating on his kids, not going to get tied into coaching. Because he is. OU is trash. Didn't beat a single good team this year. Starting running back sat out most of their old line. Marched up and down the field on D. UT blanked them. TCU ran them off the field. Okay, I'll play just for a quick second. I'll play your game, NK. If that is the reason why Adam Fuller's trash, Clemson gave up 40 plus to Wake Forest. FSU gave up 31 and held them to 10 points in the second half. So that should mean Adam Fuller did a damn good job against Wake Forest. That's what I meant. Wake Forest against Clemson. Look what Wake Forest did against Clemson's defense, who everybody I think in the chat would say is a more talented defense than Florida State's. You know, I'm just using your logic based on what Clemson's defense did against Wake Forest and Florida State's defense did against Wake Forest. I think I can make the case that Adam Fuller did a damn good job. We need a DB coach that can recruit South Florida. I agree with that. He played in the national. He played in the bowl I think he's number 7. He played in the playoff game. What I'm saying is we don't need anybody that's not a good X and O's coach and can recruit. That's why we're not getting top DBs now. Hell, Pruitt was a defensive coach at Hoover High before he went to Bama. Crow's a grad assistant right now, isn't he? Offer him $100K and move. Yeah, he's over. Yeah, I think there's a Geo over there right now. If MJJ is injured, he might have to hit the portal. If you get injured at UGA, you won't be seen. You won't been seen for weeks/years. Wake let off the gas once they went up big, though. We don't know this. Y'all use that excuse every time. Y'all use the same excuse last year. So 2 years in a row, Wake just decided we're gonna let off the gas. That doesn't make sense. Nobody coaches like that, or very few. Why would Wake Forest let off the gas against Florida State? What logic does that hold? Y'all make those excuses, or y'all paint that narrative to continue to discredit adjustments. It's like that's not true. The triangle theory is a load of crap. It's a dumb argument. Clemson had 4 DBs out against Wake. Okay. And against Wake, we had no Fabian Lovett. Hell, you can say one of our better DBs has been hurt all year in 13. I mean, we can play an injury game. That's football. Travis Fishing played high school football in Tallahassee. DB coach in Nebraska, also played 8 years in the pros. I think Tony Carter coaches somewhere. Actually, I think Tony Carter is going to be coaching with Terrell. So Terrell Buckley is another name that people have thrown out there. The problem with Terrell Buckley is he's a head coach in the XFL, and that league starts in like a month or two. So he's not going to the NFL. Excuse me, he's not leaving the XFL to go to college, for one. He's not going to go from a head coach to DB coach. Now, they don't necessarily make a bunch of money in the XFL. I think head coaches in the XFL only make $500K. But I don't think Florida State's going to pay their DB coach $500K. That's about what you would pay your average run-of-the-mill coordinator. So I think we can kill the whole Terrell Buckley narrative, right? That's not going to happen, right? I'm interested to see what they do. But I think Tony Carter's over there with Buckley in the XFL. I think. It's ridiculous. Clemson fans are saying the same thing about FSU games, saying they let up off the gas. Yep, he did. He hit the portal, which is fine. Go out there, man, be great. Go out there and be great. OU ran the ball 3 straight times and got first downs on FSU's defense. They ran a counter on the goal line. The backup keep running back went untouched. OU didn't put up points at any good teams this year. Well, they were a top 20 offense, so they put up points against somebody. Was Woodson making 500? I doubt. Was he really? So how much is Adam Fuller making? Fuller's making 800. Okay. Crow's salary is close to 500K. He said, Willie Taggart comes like that. He's not coming here. I'm convinced John Campbell's not coming here. I'm not really. I don't think a GA is making 500. But anyway, I think if FSU wanted him, they could have had him already. I don't know where he goes. I don't necessarily think John Campbell is great. I think Miami should have kept him because you need guys. You need depth and you need all of that. With that said, I think if Florida State already, if they wanted John Campbell, they could have had him already. I don't think Florida State's interested, personally. And they shouldn't be. I don't think FSU should rush. Even if you want to bring in another offensive lineman, I think some other guys might hit the portal. No need to rush on a Campbell. I'm not so sure Campbell comes in here and starts. Anyways, but to who I want as the DB coach, bro, I want him to hire the best guy. It's kind of weird. There's not a specific name that I'm like, yeah, go out there and get it. I think there's some good options. Go out there and get the best option. I would love to see Crow back. Antonio Cromartie. I feel like that name might resonate on the recruiting trail. But then again, he's at Texas A&M. I don't know how he's doing over there in terms of recruiting. When you work for essentially TJ Rushing, how much is that Crow? How much is that Rushing? I mean, there's a lot that goes in a lot of these. Get me a guy that can recruit, though. That's what I want. And if he comes from off the Bama tree, I'm with it. If he comes from off the Georgia tree, I'm with it. Just go get me a guy. And get me a guy who's got some ties to this state. Florida, meaning. If Crow can recruit, I say bring him. He knows the position, the schemes, so he can be able to teach. Where do we see our guys finishing? Got to be top 10. Got to be top 10. I think Myron's a doctor. I don't think he's worried about coaching. Woodson made $420. Okay. Southeast, I'm with that. Georgia, Florida, at a minimum, right? Bama tree overrated. Get me somebody that can recruit the Southeast, state of Florida. Again, but I don't have a specific name. All I care about is the defensive back coach. All he has to do is recruit and close on the recruiter. I'm with you, Jeff. I think you got to address recruiting. At what point do we got to just address the recruiting of this? That's what we need to address the recruiting.
My name is Jeff.
Bitch, be humble. Sit down. Be humble. Sit down.
What do you think Vegas will have our over under wins for next season? I don't know. Maybe a little too early to tell. We'll see how this roster shakes out. I'll be honest with you. I'm not a fan of Clemson DBs, so I don't know if I would personally want that. Now, he could probably recruit, though. If he can recruit, I'll give him a chance, but Clemson DBs are terrible, and they have been for a long time. Isn't Raymond in Florida? He's not the DB coach. Okay. Well, good. As long as he ain't DB coach. Well, the offensive line didn't block for him very well. I thought Klubnik made some pretty good decisions in that game, though, personally. He didn't let the moment overwhelm him. He didn't make a lot of mistakes. I think Klubnik has a solid future. I don't know if he's a difference maker, but he was not bad in my opinion. He didn't lose them the game. Now, he did do some things where he panicked. He made freshman mistakes, like rolling out the pocket 15 yards to the backfield was ridiculous. He did that over and over. But I thought Klubnik, for the most part, when he actually made decisions to throw the ball, I thought he made decent decisions throwing the ball. And he's pretty accurate. But yeah, defensive backs. I think this is a exciting time, but we got to get the right guy. Like, I don't have an answer for who the right guy is, though. There's some guys that I would love to see. I would not be mad if they promoted from within, personally. I wouldn't be mad if they promoted from within. I don't mind them going out and getting somebody. I'm gonna be interested to see what they do. I don't think they'll promote from within first option. Now, if they can't get the other options, it could happen. I think first option is they're gonna go out and they're gonna look for a guy. This isn't like offense where Mike Norvell is the visionary of the offense. So, of course, in my opinion, Mike was always gonna hire in-home guys offensively for his vision. Defensively is a little bit different. And we talked about T-Buck. I don't think that's a possibility. I don't think that's realistic. And they don't have any wide receivers. That's another good point. I don't think Klubnik has a lot to work with. I wish I was. Pay me enough money and I'll quit. I just won't show up no more. I see people want Chip West. Where is he? See, some of these names, I'll be honest with you, I'm not familiar with a lot of these names. Chip West, where is he currently coaching at? I've seen people mention Pitt's DB coach, Iowa. Like, I mean, those names sound good, but like, I'm with you, Todd. I can't wait. The Syracuse DB coach. Okay. Syracuse has had some good DBs lately, too. I mean, that's an interesting. I wouldn't be mad at that. You know, they already have. I think they already have someone lined up. Because I think you mean Woodson wasn't a surprise. I don't believe this was a surprise. I think they knew Woodson was out the door. I think everybody knew Woodson was out the door. So I don't disagree. I think they probably already have a person in mind, and I wouldn't be surprised if we get an announcement by the end of the week. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. That they have a ton of options. They have a ton of options. They have a ton of options. The thing about Florida State is you got to think. You are at a school that's known for having top tier defensive backs. Got to get you a guy. There should be no shortage of suitors or coaches who want to fill this job, who want to coach some of these guys, who want to recruit this level of guy. So I think FSU is that they don't need to rush. They probably already have a guy or two in mind. I don't expect this to be a long, drawn out search. I think they'll. I think we will be happy with whoever they pick, and if we can increase the size of this off-field staff, you still might get a Crow. You still might get a Greg Reed. You still might get some of these guys. I saw something about DVD. I don't know how true that is. I know Miami would. It would be great for trolling purposes. But man, Florida State just this guy put a top 4 out. John Campbell. I just saw that top 4 that people were talking about. USC, Tennessee, Florida, Florida State. I'm with Ratliff. I wouldn't mind having Ratliff take the job. Well, it don't matter because Arkansas hired him. Don't even matter. And nobody's upset. So as we continue to kill the transfer portal, as we continue to search for a DB coach, this offseason is going to continue to get extremely interesting. I'm excited to continue to watch it. And we're going to be right here together covering it week by week. I keep seeing the Torian Gray name. If UF let some really good offensive linemen hit the portal. I don't understand what's going on at Florida. We'll talk about this. I'm gonna talk about this, and then we'll wrap this thing up. I don't understand what's going on at Florida. Yeah, we talk a lot of jokes about Miami, and that's mainly because Miami's fans are usually over here in the chat talking. And there's not a big fan presence of Gator fans on YouTube, or at least not over here. I got a couple guys that show up every now and then, like BB and Chad, but that's about it. But I don't know what's going on at Florida, but it really looks bad in my opinion. Miami's not that much better, to be quite honest with you, but Florida, I feel like all their best players are leaving this. Like, it's kind of ridiculous what's going on there. You lose Anthony Richardson to the draft, and then you bring in the Wisconsin guy who's really not that good. You got to figure, why was he the option that you brought in? They've let some of their better offensive linemen hit the portal. One of them I wanted. I'm really confused about what's going on over there at Florida. I ain't mad at it. By all means, continue that trend of gutting your roster. But man, oh man. Man, oh man. No, I don't feel like it would be. Not sure. What's going on, Pat? And South Carolina definitely seems to be like a developmental team for us, man. They definitely do. I see if we'll get this DN. I think this DN that we're looking at is from Fort Lauderdale. Who's at South Carolina? So we'll see what happens with that one. Boy, if Torian Gray can't come here. Here's the thing about Gray. Isn't Gray Sam McCall's uncle? Doesn't Sam McCall's uncle coach the DBs at South Carolina? How awkward would that be? Now, I could be thinking of a different person, but I'm almost sure that that's the guy. Isn't that awkward for Sam to leave the school to A&M of all places, which I'm happy for you, man. But you talk about a lack of talent. A&M ain't going to have nobody on that roster when this offseason's all said and done. And then we would potentially hire his uncle. That'd be weird. That would be weird. That would be weird. That's his uncle. Yeah, that'd be crazy. I think UF will be worse. I think. He's from Fort Pierce. Okay, I knew he was from somewhere in Florida. Not Fort Lauderdale. I knew some from somewhere. But yeah, man. That is all I have for tonight. FSU's got some good news of late. A lot of good news since the year has started, from Fabian Lovett, Woodson. I mean, we did get Trey Sean Ward at the portal, which isn't great news, but I think there's one position we could afford to lose a good player. It was the running back position. It was the running back position. There goes my throat again. I ain't gonna see, man. My throat is a mess. It continues to bother me ever since this game. But man, we had a great time. We got to do that again. LSU, I think, is going to be an epic experience. If you can make that, I'm going to try to make that, but that one's iffy because that time runs close to me with some stuff I got going on around that time. But I'm gonna try to make that. I gotta get up out of here because I can't stop coughing. But man, we really went over. I mean, a lot of everything that's happened so far, and we're gonna continue to again cover this stuff in this off season. FSU's in for a big off season, man. This off season is gonna be. This is going to buckle up, Florida State fans. I want to say this in closing. Buckle up. You're about to get a level of hype this off season. That we haven't seen since 2017. 2017. The year that we played Bama. When what was it? 1 versus 2 or 1 versus 3, whatever it was to start the season. Yeah. That's the kind of hype you're going to get this offseason, in my opinion. That's the level of hype. With the portal players, with everybody that's announced them that's coming back. You're going to, I don't know what the expectation is from some of you guys, but I think anything less than 9 wins is a failure. And that's just the early expectation. 9 wins next year would be a disappointment. This team is trending on a 10-win plus season, and it's just going to get crazier as the months go. You think it's crazy now? Wait till we watch the spring game. Wait till we watch the spring game. And remember last year's spring game, everybody would criticize everything. From players being small to whatever you want to criticize. But it won't be the case. It won't be the case. I don't think so. I mean, you'll still get those off fans that have to criticize something because they still can't believe that Mike's having some sort of success. So that's going to be apparent, but get prepared. Buckle your seatbelt. You're in for a fun offseason if you're a real Florida State fan. Jordan Travis will be an early Heisman contender. I don't think he ends up getting it. I don't even think he ends up getting invited. Just because of the style of offense. We should be running the ball a lot. But we'll see, man. We'll see what happens. But you got a quarterback who's being compared to Charlie Ward. I just saw a graphic. Jordan Travis's name is up there with the big 3. I mean, by the end of the season, could we have a big 4 in the quarterback room? It's possible. You know? Spock said 11 wins will fire everybody. Like, that's going to be the type of expectations we're going to get this year. So, like I said, man, buckle up. Get ready. It's just starting. It's only January. But you better believe by the time May gets here, and we're gearing up, or what, April, May, we're gearing up for spring ball. Oh, man, you better get ready. Be prepared. Be prepared. Let us come out of spring injury-free. Let Fiske look the part in that spring game. Let Cypress be locked down in that spring game. Let Jordan Travis throw for 500 yards. We continue to talk about telling elite lies. And is it time to lie? Is it lying season? I have a news flash, folks. I don't think we got to lie anymore. I don't have to tell any lies, guys. The proof's in the pudding. Top 10 offense and defense. Proof's in the pudding. And they're upgrading while bringing majority of what you had already back. The proof's there. You don't need to lie. I don't have to lie and tell you, I think Jordan Travis is going to have a good year next year. I ain't got to lie to you no more. Because he already exceeded every expectation that any of us had. Travis is the real deal. We don't have to lie and say, I think Trey Benson, I know he's coming off a knee injury, but I think he's a good get. The man ran for almost 1,000 yards, 900 plus yards this year. We know what Trey Benson is. Ain't no more lies. I don't have to lie and say, well, Johnny Wilson, he didn't have a lot of production at Arizona State. And they're saying he can't catch, but I like his size. He's 6'7". I think he can be a weapon. Oh, 800 some yards this year. Only getting better. I ain't got to lie. I don't have to lie and say, man, the tight end room, I think it takes a step this year. I mean, I know we're not recruiting it well, but we got some young projects. And that Jaheim Bell, Morlock, Marcus, and Douglas. Ain't got to lie. And I ain't got to lie and tell you that the O-line is going to take another step. I don't have to lie. I no longer have to lie. Y'all no longer have to lie. We got you. And with all that said, buckle up. Just buckle up and get ready. Get ready to tell these truths with me week in and week out as we come on here and we tell you what's about to happen with this team. But as always, is your boy POLK over here on 863 Seminole TV. Stay classy, Seminoles. Y'all are going to catch me this weekend. We'll do this again. More in-depth stuff, longer live stream. I try to keep these ones a little short. We went a little longer than I usually do on these hangovers. But as always, stay classy, Seminoles. And we out here. Go Noles.